Welcome to MILF,
I'm Courtney,
and I'm Jennifer.
and we are two moms into literary freedom. Hey Jennifer, happy, what is it? National Women's Month? Is that
Is
it?
it?
Yeah, isn't like the whole month of March for women?
I'm so lost. I guess so, yeah.
Okay, so International Women's Day is March 8th.
So I
And
missed it.
Women's History, sorry, it's Women's History Month.
Okay.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
I'm still lost. I have no idea what month we're in, what day it is.
Yeah. So technically, I mean, the big ones that I remember, we got February's Black History Month. Of course, that's
Yeah.
the shortest month. um, which is fitting with the state of our country and things, and the racism, the rampant racism that we're seeing. And March is Women's History Month, which yeah, is those are the only two that I really like that really stick out to me though.
Yeah. I know also October, I think, or November is Hispanic Heritage Month. It's
Oh,
weird. It's like in the middle of the month.
you know, it goes from September 15th to October 15th.
Oh, okay. So you know it better than I do. Okay.
September, October, and then November is or Indigenous
Hmm.
History, right?
Yes, I think that's right. Yeah.
Women- Yeah,
Well, I think they're all getting taken off the calendar, right?
I know we're not gonna let them know. We're still gonna celebrate. That's the thing. It doesn't
Yes.
like a symbolic. A lot of these things are symbolic gestures. It's like, well, we're
Hmm.
still gonna celebrate, but I mean, who knows what it's gonna look like 3 years from now?
Right. And I'm just worried, can we flip it around and get back to a good direction? I'm hoping we can.
I think we gotta hit rock bottom,
Yeah.
and the Democrats are just failing miserably on purpose. Even don't even get me started on Schumer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a handful of other Democrats that are just like, what didn't someone say that they were like he was it Schumer or yeah, I think it was Schumer who said his job is to make sure the left stays pro-Israel.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't hear that.
yeah,
No.
the left
That's
is
not
not.
your job.
Yeah, no.
No.
First of all, that's not your job. And second of all, I've been
Mm-mm.
happy to see all the pro-Palestine protests.
Yep.
There's been a lot more of those.
Well,
And
yeah, because they also just arrested and I'm bad with names, Khalil
yeah,
Mohammed.
Mahmoud is how I've been saying it.
Okay, yes. Well, they just, arrested him and a few other kids from college that were protesting, and just the whole way they're using ICE
Mhm.
as an intimidation tactic.
And the judges are
Crazy.
saying this is illegal, but they're being ignored. And so that's why
Right.
I'm like, again, I tend to try to be as optimistic as I can as a way of self-preservation. And I'm seeing these judges like coming through and actually, um, seeing justice. And
Mhm.
but justice is not being what's the word I'm trying to say? It's not being served. It's
Right.
justice is not happening. Like the judges are trying to, but then like they're just Trump and Musk are ignoring them, and I don't know what to think.
How do they get away with it? Is my question. Like, how do they keep getting away with it?
I
I,
don't, I don't know.
what is the point of the checks and balances if it's not working? If
Right.
he's still going to be able to get away with doing everything from the get-go, like, how did he even get to run for president having all these felonies?
Well, I
But they
think
keep like letting him get away with things and get away with things. And I'm like, you realize it's just encouraging him. It's just letting him know he can do whatever the hell he wants.
well the Democrats have let him, and it's because
Mhm.
I can't really explain. This is like a whole other episode. It's like when, and where did the Democrats start failing? And I think the answer is like the '80s or something. Like I think it's been a long time coming, but like some people will say like the Democrat, it's just all sort of a facade. And I think this is what is I believe now, and the evidence points to this very clearly. The Democratic politicians want to be just as rich as the Republican politicians. And
Mhm.
they're pretending like they care about us, but they don't. They just want to
Right.
protect themselves and their trust funds and whatever. And they're just pretending like they are for the people. Whereas Republicans are like, no, we don't care about you.
Right.
We don't give a fuck about you, but you're still going to vote for us because we know how to divide people and we know how to, like trick large. groups of voters into thinking that we are going to help you, even though like Project 2025 laid it out very clearly. If you had any critical thinking skills, which again goes back to the dismantling of public education, then you would see Project 2025 and be like, oh no, you do not care about, 90% of this country.
Right.
But I think it's a self-preservation technique for a lot of the MAGA people to think like, oh, I'm going to vote for this guy because he's different and he's not your run-of-the-mill politician. He's going to change things. And they just say that because it takes the least amount of mental energy
Right.
and they just want things to be better and they trick themselves into thinking that that's what's going to solve the problem.
And they're really good at giving them someone to be angry at. So,
Yeah,
they made trans a big issue. And so these people are like, yeah, the
yeah,
trans are going after our kids and
right.
save the kids. And
Yeah.
they convince themselves that that's what they're doing.
Mhm.
And the whole time I'm like, where are you?
Yeah,
Why? Like, why
yeah.
do you care?
No, you're right. You're so
Nothing's happening to these kids.
And to another good point, and it's not just trans, it's like the whole like sex trafficking of children, which
Hmm.
we all agree is terrible.
Right.
But they were, they made it like a thing that the Democrats wanted. Like,
Right.
how are they so successful in persuading an entire group of people into thinking that all Democrats are pro sex trafficking of children?
Right.
So,
While ignoring the actual sexual assault and trafficking that is happening on their side.
exactly. Yeah.
And
Wasn't
they
there?
will defend it and go to lengths and twist themselves into all kinds of
Yes.
shapes to make it like, no, that's okay. What they're doing is not what you're saying.
You hear about the guy in Minnesota, the Republican? I don't know what he was, some sort of, I don't know, policymaker in Minnesota. He came up with this bill that, bills. There's so many crazy bills out there that never get passed, right? But any politician can create a bill. So he created this bill saying that anyone says anything bad about Trump, they can go to jail. Or like if they say, I think it was something like you could post on your social media like fuck Trump, I hate him, I want him to be dead, and you could get like go to jail
Right.
for that, right? And so that was the bill that he made. Actually had a student reach out to me, a previous former student reach out to me on social media because they live in Minnesota, and they're like, Miss B, this is scary, and I'm like, what? Like I hadn't spoken to the student in years,
Right.
and they just like reached out to me because they were scared, and I don't know, I did my best to like make them feel better about it, and I was like, this is how bills work. Like it's probably like if it survives the second round, it probably won't survive the third round. And then all the meanwhile, like while I'm typing that, I'm like, who the fuck knows? It might survive. Like
Right.
we're living in unprecedented times. Like this bill could totally survive, right? The next fucking day, that guy, that Minnesota politician, to look his name up, gets arrested for trying to meet a 16-year-old for sex. He knew she was,
Okay. I think I do remember seeing
yeah.
something like that.
Well, that's the thing. It's like
But
so
it
many,
happens so often, it's not even like maybe I'm thinking of a different story.
yeah, exactly. There, every fucking two
Yeah.
hours, there's a new story,
Yeah.
right? But what's the big one that happened yesterday that everyone's
The it's so embarrassing. Like I'm so embarrassed to be American.
Oh my God. I was at the bus stop picking up my children when this came, to my attention on my phone. And I didn't get out of the car to get my kids. I was like, they can just walk from the bus to the
I
car.
have to finish listening.
Yeah, I'm like, how's your day? Because they're still little. Like they're little
Yeah.
enough that they run up to me and hug me. And I'm like, well, I was just floored. I was like, is this satire? Like, what?
Right.
Is this a joke?
This has tempted me to get back on Facebook because I am dying to go into our chat rooms, local ones, and
Yeah.
see how quiet it is in there. Because
All of
where
this.
are all the Hillary's emails, people,
Mhm.
on the whole, what is it? What is it called? Encrypted? Not encrypted?
Yeah, it was
Well,
I forgot what it was called, but it was encrypted, right?
it should be encrypted, but it's not, right? It's just an app. They're basically our leaders
Hmm.
are in a group chat on an app like what's it called? I've never heard of this app, but I'm guessing it's like WhatsApp or something. It's like a
Yeah,
a chatting app
Yeah.
that you can download on
Hmm.
Apple,
Hmm.
talking about literal war
Uh-huh.
strategies.
Yeah, they were bombing was it Yemen? It was called
Yemen, I think.
yeah. So the US Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, um, accused sexual assaults or rape. I'm just gonna say rapist. He's accused.
Right.
Okay. Um, also Secretary of Defense with no experience whatsoever, right? He is in he's in Signal, which is what we're describing as the shadow.
Signal, that's what it's called.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And so there are currently there's like 18 people in this chat, right? Which is a lot of people.
It's just
Tulsi
so
Gabbard,
dumb.
Tulsi
It's so
Gabbard is
dumb.
one of them.
Yeah.
And she's just straight out, she's like straight up denying
Oh
anything.
yeah, I just
She
saw a
won't
video of
speak.
her.
She won't
They're
even,
asking about it
yeah.
during a congressional hearing, and she's refusing to answer.
Mhm.
Like
But
they just want to avoid it. Like,
yeah,
like let's just forget it happened.
yeah. And so what, of course, Donald Trump acts like he has no idea what they're talking about, but he of course knew. And then Pete Hegseth just goes in and starts to I don't know, like insult the Guardian, the Atlantic. Was it the
Yes.
so the what do you call it? It's not a newspaper. It's a magazine, right?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, the Atlantic magazine writer. His name is something Goldberg, Jeffrey Goldberg, and
No,
he
that's the actor, isn't it?
Gold
From
Jeffrey Goldblum.
Gold.
No,
My
his
bad.
name's Jeffrey Goldberg. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Um, yeah, Jeffrey Goldberg. He's the editor in chief. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, he's like high up there.
All right, he's the editor. So his story was really. Hold on, I have to let my stupid talk. Um, his story was great. So he was a secret spy in this
Ooh, your
supposedly.
sounds so much better right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, because unplugged my microphone. Shoot, you should unplug yours. Say something. I don't know.
Hello, hello.
Oh no, that sounds worse. That
Oh,
sounds
okay.
terrible. Okay, now you say something.
Hello.
Okay, that's better. That's weird. Okay, so my sound is good.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, listeners. It's all we're always figuring things out over here, aren't we? We'll never have it fully figured out. Um, but anyway, this guy Jeffrey Goldberg, not Goldblum, was hiding in this group chat, not nefariously, because they added him. He didn't get in
Right.
there by accident. They added him because they're fucking idiots. And then he's like in there for a few days, right? And he doesn't, and he's like, first he's like, is this a joke? Then he's like, is this AI? Like he thought that like for a second that these were like AI chats that had like learned, the mannerisms of these people. I don't understand why he would think that, but that's what he thought. Then he was like, okay, I think this is the real fucking deal. And they're like, we're gonna bomb Yemen. It's spelled Houthi, Houthi, but I think it's pronounced Houthi, and it's the group in it's like an Iranian, is it Iranian?
Iranian?
Oh my God,
I don't
we
know.
don't know anything.
Listen,
Iranian.
we struggle to speak here, and it's okay.
Yeah, so it's Iran is supporting the Houthis, right? Which are basically pro Palestine, but they're also like a rebel group, so they're like, labeled as terrorists by Israel. Let me just make sure that's how you pronounce it. Pronunciation.
Which, from what I've seen, the attack on Yemen, it wasn't a good thing. Like,
No,
we killed a lot of innocent people.
sorry. Yeah, that's the thing. And they're just like proud of themselves.
Right.
Um, for, of obviously. Hold on a second. I hate it when I mispronounce things. So just one second.
I've just gotten used to it because I do it all the time.
Ready? Here it is.
Its name
What?
What?
Hold on.
Shit stain.
Houthi.
is how it is.
Okay. This guy just likes to hear himself talk. Just say it. Houthi. Houthi. Anyway, it's not healthy. It's like Houthi, right? And I only know that because like the subtitles were picking it up, and Trump kept saying hootie, and but I don't want to take his pronunciation for
Right.
truth, because who knows. But so anyway, they're a group in Iran that are labeled as rebels and extremists. And listen, you can't label these groups as like good guys or bad guys at this point. It's just people are dying, people are being bombed by Americans, and it's a very complicated topic. But what we're talking about is how fucking irresponsible our actual leaders are, and the damage that could have been done. Thank God it wasn't, but like we could have been inviting, like attacks on our country because
Right.
of the irresponsibility that these idiots were displaying.
Or
And so,
put our soldiers in danger
right.
because, they were expecting the attack now and
Hmm.
you were to counterattack.
But
So
yeah.
yeah, it was just very dangerous. It's a huge security issue.
Mhm.
And then these people were like the top people saying like a mistake like what Hillary did with her emails
Hmm.
was like something that should have had her immediately fired.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
this, they're like, you know what?
Yeah. And that was like all
We're
they
gonna
talked about.
fix it.
And she couldn't do her job because of that, like because of whatever emails she sent on some server. Like I don't really understand it.
Me neither.
I think it's complicated to be a very important person, such as the Secretary of Defense, and have to, only communicate in certain ways. And so, like, if you accidentally break a rule, like, I don't think that you should be fired necessarily, but this is more than just breaking a rule. Like, this is
Right.
like complete negligence. And so this guy, Jeffrey, or the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg, sat in his car at like 1:45 waiting for the news to come out that Yemen was bombed. And once it came out that Yemen was bombed, he was like, okay, this is the real deal. I'm in this
Right.
real group chat. This is real, like American war secrets just out there for who knows to read. And so that's when he like went to his staff and was like, what should we do? And then that's when thank God they actually came out with it, because I could see someone being scared.
Right. Well, I wish you would have stayed in there longer,
Yeah,
to see what else they said.
I know. Like he stayed in there a pretty long time. It was like, I don't know exactly. It was at least a week, which is a
Right.
really long time to like be undercover. Have you seen that meme of Big Bird sitting at the meeting?
No, I haven't seen it.
It's, I guess it's a meme. Is that what people call these things? It's a picture with like words on it. Is that a
Yeah,
meme?
yeah, that would be a meme. Yeah.
Okay.
You got it right.
So it's like everyone's sitting at like a conference table, and they're just like normal people in suits. And then they have all their names like Pete Hegseth and I guess um who else? JD Vance, right?
Yeah.
And then it has just Big Bird sitting right in the middle, and Jeffrey Gold.
Marco Rubio was
Yep.
in it too.
Yeah, so many, there were a lot of people in it. Gold with Tulsi Gabbard too.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Anyway, I mean, there's not much more we can say about it, I guess. But oh, I did actually. Oh, here's the quote from the spokesman for the National Security Council. Says, uh, let's see. It appears to be an authentic message chain, and we are reviewing how an inadvertent number, Jeffrey Goldberg, was added to the chain. The thread is a demonstration of the deep and thoughtful policy coordination between senior officials. No, it's not. It's a demonstration of the lack of that. And then this is what they say. The ongoing success of the Houthi operation demonstrates that there were no threats to troops or national security, because you got fucking lucky that it got
Right.
sent to fucking Big Bird and not, I don't know, Pinky in the Brain.
It's
Like,
just hilarious how they're trying to spin it like, you know what? It's not a big deal that these high officials are talking classified shit
mhm.
on a chatting app that anyone can access.
And people who actually know what they're talking about, i.e., not us,
Not
right?
us.
But like lawyers said that this may have violated the Espionage Act.
Oh,
Not saying that they're like so Republicans and Fox News people be like, oh, it's not like they're spies. They didn't have any nefarious intent. No, but
the Espionage Act basically tells you how you're supposed to handle national defense information, and this is not how you're supposed to handle national defense
Right.
information. So like all of these people are in huge legal trouble, but with the way things are going, none of these people are going to be held accountable.
And they can't pretend that they didn't have any knowledge on this because they talked again so much shit about Hillary's emails and
Hmm.
her private server,
Hmm.
which to me, like again, we don't know what we're talking about. We don't know what
Yeah.
the fuck a private
But
server
it
is.
wasn't a cell
But
phone.
it sounds private, right?
Yeah, it was a
A
huge
private server sounds a lot better than a fucking public app.
on your cell phone, which you could lose or which could be stolen
Yeah.
from you. Like that's the whole point. It's like, sure, Signal may have been maybe like a, I don't know, like a good encrypted app to use, I guess. I don't, or non-encrypted. I don't even know what it's.
Right.
But it's on your phone, and that is a violation of the Espionage Act. Like that's a risk to national security, is like carrying around the fucking nation's secrets on your cell phone.
Well, we've been saying for the longest time, these people are not qualified. And
Yes.
they keep proving us right
Did you see that video
over and over. No, which video?
of Pete Hegseth? It was like 4 days ago, and he was talking about how such and such is so embarrassing, and we're here to fix the embarrassing mistakes of the previous administration. So now that's going viral because he,
Right.
and
I
then
did
there's
see
a,
the one of him saying like anyone that, does such a stupid mistake should be fired immediately, should
yeah,
resign
and
immediately.
we're
And we're like,
hiring people based on merit
we're
and
looking at you.
yeah, but and people who can actually do a high quality job, not you.
Not,
You know.
no,
So I mean, it's sad because like, sure, all of these things are going viral and it's making for a lot of really good social media content, but at the end of the day, like, will they be held responsible? Probably
no,
not. And that goes back to why the Democrats suck so much because they should be making as much noise as AOC and Bernie Sanders are making right now.
right.
And why does it have to fall on a frail old man? No offense, Bernie. And yet again, a woman of color.
Yep,
It's falling on a woman of color and a frail old man. Two people, two people like, that are the only people, to my knowledge, that are in the Democratic Party who actually have any sort of influence. The only people that are doing anything.
right. And their rallies are huge.
We started this episode talking about how March is Women's History Month, and that brought up, that is directly related to how women are continuing to be treated, right? But also that our country has elected two accused, allegedly rapists, right? Or has put into power two alleged sexual assaulters.
More
In
than two, but we're just going to focus on these two.
Yeah. I mean, can you name some other ones? I mean, not to put you on the spot, but like the
No,
big two.
I don't know a lot of these people's names, but I know that there's more.
Right. Which brings us to your shirt.
Oh, let's talk about the guy from Florida, which
Oh,
he's not in the cabinet now, but he wanted him to be the oh my God. What did I tell you? I'm bad with names.
that's the thing. You know what's so sad?
He's retiring because,
I
all this came
have
out.
That's what I'm gonna say is like that's what's sad. I have no idea who you're talking about because there are so many politicians, whether you're at the state level or the federal level or whatever, male politicians that have accusations against them that it's so hard to keep up with. And
I, it's driving me nuts that I can't think of his name. Matt Gates.
oh, Gates, yeah, duh.
Yeah, like duh. I know his name, but I just could not think of it.
Yeah, he's not in the news
He's
cycle.
not anymore, but they wanted him.
Yeah, I'd say he's up there. He's in the top three. It's Donald
Yeah.
Trump, Pete Hegseth, Matt Gates, and then a bunch of others that just whatever. It's
They'll give us the ick.
yeah, because it's the culture that we live in. We don't hold boys and men accountable for their actions, and instead we expect girls and women to be on the defense the whole time as opposed to addressing the root of the problem, um, which is misogyny. And that's a whole nother topic of conversation, but it will help us segue into the book that we are going to briefly talk about in this episode, which is called Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. Also, before we jump into it, Jennifer's wearing a Donald Trump is a either it could be racist or it could be rapist. For those of you that are listening and not watching, this video is on YouTube, so you could watch it there. But you could replace the third letter in racist or rapist with P or C, depending on your mood for the day. Right?
Right. It's like one of those balloon walls. Have you seen those where they write messages on the walls?
Right.
They're the balloons. And so the woman's holding says Donald Trump is a
Uh-huh.
RA space IST. And then she's holding two letters, a P and a C, deciding which one she can put. And both apply,
Yep.
in
Both.
my opinion.
Yes.
Allegedly.
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 That guy in Minnesota can't come after us. One, because we're not in Minnesota. Two, he's in jail. I was happy to see
Right.
that he was at least being held. He was in jail. Like he's just straight up in jail. He knew she was 16. It wasn't even like,
But we'll see if he gets any time,
right,
any
right.
real time.
Yeah, they know how to get off. Um, but anyway, this book, it is about sexual assault, and I think it's loosely based off of the author's experiences.
Right.
And it's been banned at least 14 different times, and it's been on the American Library Association's list of banned books since 1999 when it was released. And it's not even like we've covered some, I guess you could say, like relatively more I don't explicit books.
Mhm.
This
Right.
book is not in the least explicit.
No.
I would encourage all middle schoolers to read this book.
Right.
Um, and that's just how, some writers are really good at doing that. And this is a writer that is really good at giving such an important topic the attention that it needs without being explicit.
Right.
Not saying that it's bad to be explicit. I think that there's a time and a place to use that like stronger, more descriptive language, right?
Agree. Yeah.
But when you're first dipping your toe in the water of the world and all of its disappointments, such as middle schoolers, it's good to sort of to just, dip your toe in the water instead of doing a cannonball into the pool of, sadness.
Yeah. No, and I think also like the way she alludes to what's happening, but you don't know what happens till like almost the end
Mhm.
or what happened.
Mhm.
I mean, you figure it out, but it's like, you're not like 100% sure.
I'm going to read a quick summary about it. And then we can just talk about, how it relates to today. But yeah, she's won lots of awards for this book, including the national. She was a finalist for the National Book Award, and I'm sure many more. But I'm going to read a quick summary, and this summary comes from one of my favorite sources that I've been using since I was in high school, Cliff Notes. Did you see his Cliff Notes?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't really go to high school. Like I skipped a lot.
See,
Cliff Notes were not on my radar.
yeah, you're like, I was supposed to read something, I just didn't fucking read it. Here, I was supposed to read something, I read the Cliff Notes.
Right. Smart,
Two completely different students, right? But both subpar.
I had a lot of potential, but I just wasted it away.
Well, and that, now that there's no longer a Department of Education, people like kids like us, who knows? But no, I mean, in all seriousness, like it is, that's a story to watch because what he did was illegal. The photo shoot that he did was disgusting. It looked like a really weird "Are you smarter than a fifth grader" commercial where
I didn't see that.
he had kids of all different backgrounds sitting at desks behind him, and he sat at a desk, and they all had copies of the executive order, and he's signing it dismantling the Department of Education with like 6 or 7 kids sitting at desks behind him.
What?
Yeah, it was disgusting. Yeah. And he's selling sponsorship ads for the White House Easter extravaganza thing. Like,
Everything is like a money grab for him. It's so
yeah.
gross.
Yeah, it's crazy. I
And
mean,
it's just for him. It's not ever going to trickle down to you people. Just so you know,
no.
like, are you getting it? Like, eggs are still $10 a carton.
I'm gonna get chickens.
Where to?
You're getting chickens?
Yeah, Gus is, I mean, he's wanted to for a long time,
Yeah.
but now he's like, I think he ordered a coop recently. I don't know.
You're not
I
allowed to have
I don't
chickens?
want them. I don't eat eggs. So I'll be honest, the price of eggs hasn't really affected me because
I love
I don't
eggs.
eat them.
Oh, we
But
eat the eggs.
he likes
Eggs are
them.
fun. Is your dog is gonna eat them.
That is my fear, my worry. Although I don't think he will.
He's a gentle giant. He
He
might
is
not.
a gentle giant. Yeah.
His prey drive might be like he might like grab one by the neck, but I don't think he would like give it the death shake or anything.
Right. I
He
don't
might
think
just let
so.
it go. Yeah, that's funny. But you're not
Because I
allowed,
caught him playing. I caught him playing once with an armadillo in the backyard. And he would just pounce on it.
and he didn't
Right.
kill it. He was just
He
like
never like tried to bite. He would just pounce.
he just yeah.
He kept doing this. And I was like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? And then I saw what he was going after, and I was like, that's adorable.
He's a sweet boy. Yeah, I think once he gets used to them, he won't. But yeah, you're gonna have to you have that big white fence so you could keep him a secret, but you'll have to like give your neighbors some eggs so that they don't tell on
Yes.
you because
Yeah.
you're not supposed to have them in the city limits. But
I think it changed and we can have 5.
oh,
I
cool.
think.
Okay.
But, maybe if we're going to check the laws, and if the laws say that I can't have them, we're going
Mhm.
to edit this out
Okay.
because we don't
Yeah.
want haters reporting me.
Good idea. You know what? That's a great idea. All right. Get back to me on that and I will edit it out.
All right.
All right. So anyway, back to the book. Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson follows main character Melinda Sordino. And this is in between her 8th grade year and her 9th grade year. She's a freshman at a high school in Syracuse, New York. And over the summer, her and her friends went to a party. And they don't, the author does, like you were saying, a really good job at sort of like drawing this secret out and keeping the reader engaged. This was a one sitting read for me. I sat down, I opened the book, and I didn't get back up until I was done reading it.
Right.
That's
And
how good.
it's a
Yeah.
quick read,
Right.
it's
And it's
not
also a real book. Like it's not like,
right.
and we're holding it up for those of you that are just listening, but
I know you got really silent. Oops.
it's how many pages is it? Is it's like 200 pages. Yeah, it's 200 pages.
Yeah,
That's a
200.
real book. But that's how good it is. Like it took me like four hours to read. I don't remember if I got up to pee, maybe, but it's just not very often that I sit down and read a whole book from start to finish. The last time
Right.
I did that was with Sold by Patricia McCormick.
Another really good book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same theme as well. So anyway, the author does a really good job at like keeping you interested because there's a secret that happens over the summer, and she does tell you that there was a party in which Melinda called the police, and then because Melinda called the police, all of her friends and everyone at the party socially rejected her, which I find hard to believe, but at the same time, like kids can be really cruel. Like I guess
Right.
like you can lose all of your friends teenager friends because teenagers don't make the best decisions. So like
Right.
she's legit by herself, has no friends. And on the first day of school, she meets a new student who isn't from here, so doesn't know what happened over the summer, named Heather, who really tries hard to get Melinda like involved in like school activities. But Melinda's not interested in gaining popularity and spends much of her time in an abandoned janitor's closet at the school. This is sort of starting to reveal like her depression, um, which is a completely normal and expected thing to happen to, to a girl who experienced a traumatic event. Um, and she steals some late passes and she uses them uh to sort of like escape to this janitor's closet to avoid teachers that she doesn't like and to avoid painful interactions with her former friends. And the only place that she actually feels like welcome in or where she belongs is art class, where she's working on a year-long project to create various interpretations of a tree. And one of my favorite characters in this book is the art teacher.
Mr. Freeman.
Yeah.
I loved him.
Yeah, he's really eccentric and out there and yeah, I liked that he was a positive male figure in this book
Yeah.
because um a lot of the criticism about this book being that it was banned in 14 different places, right? Including our local county.
Hmm.
Yeah, is that it made males feel uncomfortable. Like how are you going to ban a book because it makes males feel uncomfortable? What about all the books that make females feel uncomfortable?
Right. And what in the book made you uncomfortable? Because they never attacked men,
No,
like it wasn't,
no,
I can't recall. I just read it and I don't remember anything where it was like men are bad. It
yeah.
was this man is bad.
And he's not,
It,
yeah,
right? She refers
yeah.
to him as it.
You know what's funny? The whole time I was reading this book, this is just a testament to my brain. I thought it was IT, like information technology.
Oh,
I'm like, why is she referring to this guy as information technology?
that's
It,
funny.
finally, I was like, oh, it's it. I see, I see. But yeah, you're right. There wasn't any like there's no man-hating themes. Like Nowhere Girls, there's some man-hating theme.
Right,
And it's not necessarily man-hating, it's predator hating. Like
right,
the difference. We don't hate men, we hate predators.
right,
And so the fact that Mr. Freeman is a positive male character in this book kind of makes me wonder how it was even banned in the first place because he's a really nice guy.
right.
So so yeah, she in the school hallways, she occasionally sees it, a name she is given to senior Andy Evans, and she slowly begins to face what he did to her. Whenever he sees her, he antagonizes her in ways that make her relive her initial experience with him. She grows more despondent and even ditches whole days of school. Her parents and guidance counselor try to get her to open up about her poor academic performance, but Melinda refuses to speak to them, hence the name of the book, Speak. Um,
Right.
However, over many months of painful silence and self-harm in the form of lip and nail biting, which is something I want to talk about, Melinda
Okay.
finally admits to herself that Andy Evans raped her at the party last summer because she didn't even like know she was raped. So what did you think about like the lip and the nail biting in terms of like self-harm?
Um, so I thought it played like a really good visual for me of
Mhm.
how like neurotic she'd become and how she was like just kind of like she wanted, I don't know, I don't want to say she wanted to feel something,
Yeah,
but
that's the whole point of self-harm. Yeah.
right,
And then there's a scene where she actually like it wasn't enough. Like the biting of her lips and the biting of her nails wasn't enough to for her parents to understand that something majorly, was majorly amiss. That she actually like caught her wrist so that her mom would see it at breakfast, and her mom was
right.
like, "I don't have time for this," like just I don't think the parents had the tools, that they needed.
No.
Not that they're bad parents. It's just like a lot of parents just don't know how to deal with that kind of stuff.
And I'll admit, like I was reading it and I'm a tough love kind of parent.
Hmm.
And I think there is a place and time for it.
Hmm.
But then I started thinking, oh my God, like, sometimes I tell my daughter, like, hey, like it's not worth being that dramatic over. And then I'm like, what if there's something else going on and I'm just brushing it under
Hmm.
the rug? So like I started thinking like, should I talk to her more? Like I talk to them a lot.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't, but
Right.
it had me like it did make me question myself and my parenting
Hmm.
that the mom was just so oblivious to what was happening.
Hmm.
Your daughter stopped talking.
Yeah.
She's biting her nails off. She's got literal blisters on her lip from how much she's chewing on them.
Yeah.
And
And
you're like, it's fine.
that's a so like that, like to your point of like it being sort of like a like neurotic, it's like she's gone through such a traumatic event that like she can't stop biting her nails or her lips. It's just like something that she's doing to in any sort of attempt to preserve herself, which is clearly not working. But you're a good parent, and just imagine, and who already talks to her kids. Just imagine those parents who don't have the tools out there that did read this book, and exactly what you said, kind of like, you know, puts like a red flag out in their brain to like
Right.
look out for things like, oh, maybe I shouldn't sweep this under the rug.
Yeah, yeah. No, definitely. I think it was for a parent to read it, like it would be a wake-up call. I mean, I don't understand how having a top student suddenly start
Right.
failing, skipping, doing all these things, and you're not thinking, hey, something must have happened.
Life gets in the
No,
way though, you know?
maybe not that, but maybe something, like what happened with your friends? I don't see you hanging out with this person anymore. What's going on here?
Mhm. I
Yeah,
had the same thoughts when I was reading that for sure. But I also had thoughts that like parents out there, whether they're single parents or both parents are present, but they're both like busting their asses working so that they can
right,
afford eggs and their rent and mortgage and whatever, and that high, just it's hard to have a family and to financially support them. The emotional support gets lost.
right,
You focus on the financial support. But books, again, books like this, they shouldn't be banned. They shouldn't be censored. They should be the opposite. They should be uplifted and encouraged to read. And if your kid comes home as a teacher with like required reading, then I think I wouldn't it be such a wonderful world if the teacher also encouraged the parent to read it alongside their child. And
right,
not only is your child getting an education, but you're getting an education alongside your child free of charge. And you are also, like becoming closer to your child and understanding, you know, how your child is thinking and what they're thinking and what they've been going through.
right,
That'd be such a great like world if instead of attacking teachers, parents were like, "Hey, I want to be a part of what you're teaching,"
right,
instead of "I want to stop you from teaching."
right. And I did like how that was brought up in the book as well. Not so much backing up a teacher because they're not actually backing up a teacher in this situation,
Oh yeah,
but the other student, I can't think of his name. Was his name Pete as well?
Pete Hegseth.
Right. He was
The
a good
nice one,
kid.
the one who got the lawyer.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I like thought that was really something.
extreme.
Yes, and I thought also like I could see some, right-wing parent
Oh,
not
totally.
liking that part
Yeah.
of the book.
Let me finish reading the summary. Maybe Cliff Notes brings it up, but then we'll talk about it because that was a really funny part for sure. Um, so after facing the fact that she was raped, Melinda begins to recover from the trauma of the event. She did this all by herself, by the way. Like no, the adults in her life failed. Maybe Mr. Freeman helped her with her art project, but she did it by herself. And this is also, as a reminder, partially a true story, based on the author's experiences. So maybe she did do it by herself. She's still worried about Andy Evans, and his intentions for her former best friend Rachel, because Andy and Rachel are now like flirting and like hanging out all the time, and Melinda is worried about what's going to happen. So she finally tells Rachel the truth. Rachel, of course, doesn't believe Melinda, um, but Melinda begins to feel free after speaking up. So she starts to take up new hobbies like yard work. She plants a bunch of flowers. She gains confidence in her attempts at creating a vibrant tree for her art project. And she no longer cares about Heather and her false friendship because Heather turned out to be a real bitch,
Right.
uh,
Right.
which we kind of gloss over. Heather was good at the beginning, but then she just sort of dropped Melinda when just like everyone in her life was just like, oh,
Right.
you're having problems. We don't want to deal with you.
I thought that was important in the book too because it shows a young reader like not all friends that seem good friends really are, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, because Heather was like perfect and like she got good grades and she was in all the clubs and like all the teachers thought that Heather was like perfect,
Right.
but she was a terrible friend.
Right. Every time, Melinda needed her, she was never there for her.
Hmm.
Never stuck up for her, was quick to throw her under the bus.
Hmm.
And so that happens in real friendships at school.
For sure.
So, a kid reading that could be like, oh, that's kind of like my friend Sarah over there.
Yeah.
Maybe I should cut her. Not cut her, but like cut the friendship.
I thought you meant. I was like, whoa, Jennifer's getting violent.
There I go again.
But she does rekindle a relationship or a friendship with a girl named Ivy, who she was friends with earlier. And I liked how the author threw that in there because it's like
Yes.
Ivy knew she called the police, but Ivy didn't care. And
Right.
Ivy was probably there the whole time, but Melinda didn't see her there. So, not you just got to find your people. And like you
Right.
said, a lot of teenagers are selfish and not making the best choices. So yeah. So as the school year comes to an end, Melinda is forced to confront Andy once again when he corners her in the janitor's closet. She defends herself with a broken shard of mirror that she like breaks, and she just like she has like the balls and the bravery to like actually like, because I don't know what I would have done in a situation like that.
Right.
To be able to fight back against your attacker is not something that everybody can do, depending on whether your body goes into, fight or flight or freeze, fight, flight, or freeze or fawn, or I don't know. There's all kinds of things
Right.
that your body can do. I think when I've been in situations like this, I tend to just freeze. So I don't know if I would have been able to be as brave as Melinda, but she or maybe Laurie Halse Anderson in this case, but she breaks like a mirror and she grabs it and she like holds it up to its neck, and uh then all of the lacrosse players hear the
Across.
commotion and they open the door and they see the scene unfolding, and then basically the truth comes out and everybody finds out, what really happened that summer. So she ends the year by finishing her tree in Mr. Freeman's art class and then sharing what happened to her with Mr. Freeman, which, ties it back into the whole theme of speech
Right.
and speaking. And there's a really cool quote that I think I'm going to put on a coffee mug because I've been doing that lately. I've been trying to throw more coffee mugs when I'm not working. But let me see if I can find. Oh yeah.
By throw, you mean you're making them out of clay, right?
Yes. So when
Okay.
you
See,
sorry,
I cut things, you throw things.
we're very violent. When you make mugs on the wheel, it's called throwing. So but yeah, the quote that I really like is don't expect to make a difference unless you speak up for yourself,
Oh,
which
I like that.
yeah, which is, it's directly from this book. It's about speaking up for yourself. It relates to what we're seeing going on today. Like we can't just sit around and read the news or engage in the social media posts without actually like doing something meaningful, whether it's contacting your legislators or attending a protest or I don't know. It does seem like there's not a lot that can be done today, but even having conversations like this with your friends and family and neighbors or sharing this podcast uh,
Please.
counts as something, don't you think?
I agree. Yeah. I mean, we have to speak out.
And
If this book encourages you to do anything, it's to speak.
mhm. And you could speak by sharing an Instagram story. Like that's what I do. All my friends and family probably hate it, but I'm like, I share it because like when I share it, I'm like, we need to know about this so that we can keep talking about it because we
Right.
can't just pretend like the next crazy thing that happens is not a big deal because that's what they want us to do. They want to desensitize us to all the crazy things that are
Right.
happening. And we're not going to become desensitized. We're just going to keep getting louder and louder, like AOC and Bernie. But but yeah, the part of the Cliff Notes didn't really talk about the part that you brought up. The part
With
of, yeah.
David, his name is David Petrakis.
Oh, okay, David, yeah. So
Yeah.
do you want to explain that or I don't know if you care.
So there's this teacher, Mr. Neck, in the story, and he's kind of a jerk from the get-go to her. And he's her social studies teacher. And in the class, he brings up a point which I was like, this was written in 1999,
Mhm.
still relevant today. Hold on, let me find it real quick. It was
While you're looking at it, Mr. Neck, his name isn't really Mr. Neck. He just has a really big neck. And another part of what the author does in this book is, as from the perspective of Melinda, she gives like everyone nicknames,
right.
which is pretty cute and like adds kind of to the engagement of the book too. So,
Okay, so it's the chapter's called First Amendment,
Hmm.
and he comes into class, the teacher, upset. And so he starts deciding that this is going to be the topic of the class, and he brings up immigration. He writes it on the board,
Hmm.
and she says, I'm pretty sure he spelled it right. So, like, she was shocked, I guess, that he spelled it right.
Yeah.
And then he says, my family has been in this country for over 200 years. We built this place, fought in every war, from the first one to the last one, paid taxes, and voted. And then what happens is, so tell me why my son can't get a job.
Oh yeah, he's mad that
So
his
even then,
can't get a job.
right, he's
Blaming the
already,
immigrants in
yes,
1999.
in 1999. So it's been a thing since then. I was just like, damn, like, we're still dealing with this crap.
Well, yeah, and because politicians know that like trans rights, which wasn't a thing in 1999, but and sex trafficking, immigration is something that politicians can use to easily divide large groups of people, such as MAGA Republicans and pretty much everyone else, to get what they want, even though the there's so many statistics out there. It's like Donald Trump has more charges against him than the people that he's deporting.
Right. Yeah.
So
He's calling people criminals while he has, what is it, 32 felony charges?
yeah, and they're not, these are like felony charges that he's got.
Mhm.
And meanwhile, you've got this poor Venezuelan kid who has a soccer tattoo. I don't know if you read about that, but
Yeah.
he's one
Real Madrid is what his tattoo says, which
real.
is a soccer team.
Yeah, and I said it was a gang-related tattoo. It's a fucking soccer tattoo. I don't know anything about soccer, and I know that Real Madrid is soccer.
Right. And
Like,
let's talk about the tattoos because when I saw the tattoos that they were claiming are gang tattoos,
uh-huh.
they are the most basic tattoos I have ever seen. Like common as fuck.
Yeah,
And you're using those tattoos to suddenly deport someone.
they know too. They know. They don't. They know they can get away with anything. I'm surprised they're not even just like, oh, I just don't like the way you look, so I'm going to deport you.
Right.
Might as
Yeah.
well. So, is there an update on that? Because I know a judge ordered for the plane to come back, but the plane is in
No.
El Salvador, isn't it? Or
Yeah, they've already been sent to El Salvador. They're in that, prison that's there, and we'll see what happens. But I do know that recently at a detention center in Miami,
oh, that was.
3 people just passed away.
Mhm.
And they're saying the conditions there are horrible.
I know. I sent that to because Anna Escamini, the Orlando, she's like running for Orlando mayor.
Yeah, I like her.
Oh yeah, I hope she runs for governor one day, but she's very good at informing the people. So I wanted to see if she was gonna say anything about it.
Right.
No, she's Orlando, not Miami. But um that is, I heard that they were only giving them like 1 cup of water a day. And
Mhm.
there are 4,000 people in a facility meant for like 400. Like, how is that
Yeah.
even possible?
And I've seen videos from like people that are in there and they're like in a room. It's not a cell. It's a
Mhm.
huge room and they're just like piled in there. And I'm like, how is that humane? Like how are we doing that? How are
Yeah.
we getting away with that?
And we've seen in the past, we've seen the effectiveness of actually contacting your policymakers. Um, and I've used this example before. I'm going to use it again. People got pissed when DeSantis said he was going to pave over national parks and put pickleball courts on them, and then he didn't do that. Okay.
Right.
I've I find it hard to believe that people think pickleball is more important than human rights. So either people are just like choosing to ignore it out of self-preservation, or they just don't know what's happening. But if you're listening to this podcast, and you see, something in your social media about this detention center in Miami, you can download an app called 5 Calls, and it will walk you through step by step how to contact your local policymakers, and it will even give you a script of what to say. And they don't answer their phones, so you do not have to worry about getting a real live person if you are like me and have anxiety about talking to real people. and get super sweaty because I've
Right.
like hundreds of times and nobody answers. It just goes
Yeah.
to no. But the way the laws are set up, it is a real record of a constituent voicing a concern. Emails, I think, are not considered a real record.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I learned this recently. Like, if you fax a letter, then that is a real record for some reason. Because it's like, I mean, I think it's stupid, but
It's outdated.
yeah, but
It sounds outdated.
I don't understand how it works. But all I know is everyone has a phone, and it's a smartphone. You can download this app. It's called Five Calls, and I'm pretty sure, like the immigration topics are on there. Yeah, I'm opening it up right now.
I'm gonna do that because I know you sent it the other day, and then at the time I forgot about it.
And I
I was
just,
like, oh, I'm gonna get it, and then I did it. I'm gonna do it today because I forget. But I do call when I can. I love when people put out scripts that you can
I love
read because
script.
then I'm like, okay, I can do that, because we go off topic so easily,
It,
right?
I know, right? Jesus, how long is this? This is a long one.
So when, that
Talk
helps to
about.
stay on topic and to get to the point and say what we wanted to say.
I just opened the Five Calls app, and the first thing on the list of things, so you can pick because there's like a list of 20 things. So we don't expect you to make 20 phone calls, but you can pick what's important to you. The first one is demand the resignations of Defense Secretary Hegseth and National Security Advisor Waltz. Oh, that
Mhm.
was the National Security Advisor said that it wasn't a big deal. And then the second one is protest the unlawful detainment of Venezuelan immigrants. So even if the thing about Miami isn't on there, you could still use the app to get the phone numbers, call them,
Yeah.
and talk about that as well. So,
And I will say too, let's talk about, since we're already talking about it, with the
mhm,
immigration thing.
mhm.
His whole thing was they're going after criminals,
Yeah,
because I had this conversation with my husband. He's like, yeah, yeah, I think it's cool if they're going after criminals because, he's from Venezuela. And he was like, the Tren de Aragua, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but, they're bad people and blah, blah. I
mhm,
said, listen, what you need to understand and what you're not understanding is that that's what he's telling you.
right.
But he's not going to go after
No,
Tren de Aragua. He's going to go after whoever he wants to and say they are Tren de Aragua.
yeah, he's gonna
And
go
what
after
happens?
who is easy to get on a plane and get
Yeah.
out of here illegally
And
because
now it's happened,
yeah,
right? And so like now my husband's starting to see my side. He's starting to
a lot of people
understand.
are. A lot of people who voted for, not saying your husband did vote for him, but a lot of people who straight up voted for him are like, whoa,
Right.
this is not what I voted for.
And
Those,
now he's starting to see it. So we know people who had because he just took away the parole that Biden had
mm,
given to Venezuelans.
mm,
And we know people who had that parole and now they have 30 days to leave. It's like a type of like
mhm,
visa that they had
yeah,
to stay in the country for, I don't even know why, because I had no idea what it was called, but it's called a parole
yeah.
visa, I guess, or something. Um, and now they have 30 days because he revoked it, and those people have 30 days to self leave, or they'll be considered here illegally and will be deported and all this, treated like criminals,
Is
basically.
is he targeting Venezuelans like because of what's going on in Venezuela? Or because like is he just like doing, I mean, I think the answer to this question is yes, but I'm not sure. Like, is he just like clumping all Venezuelans into one group as like being criminals?
I have no idea. Yeah, basically. But here's the kicker for me, because you know how I feel about this. A lot of
You
Hispanics
talked about
voted
a
for
lot.
this piece of shit.
I know.
And a lot of Venezuelans were
Hmm.
pro-Trump, a lot of them. And
Hmm.
so, am I gleeful that it's happening? No. But
No.
I'm also like, you're in the fuck around, you're in the find out stage of the
Yeah,
fuck around. You
right.
know,
That's kind of
we
how
warned you.
yeah, and I totally understand what you're saying, and I sort of feel the same way in regards to all of the people who are diehard Democrats, right? It's like, but and I know they obviously they didn't vote for Trump, but uh they're supporting the Democratic Party where so goes back to like why my husband was like, I'm not even gonna vote for Kamala. I'm gonna vote for who was it? He
I
had
have no idea.
his last name was West, but it wasn't Kanye West. It
I
was
have no idea who it
Cornell
was.
West. Cornell West.
Okay.
No relation to Kanye West. But so that's kind of like same idea. A lot of people like my husband are like, the Democratic Party fucking sucks. And we're seeing that right now with their lack of action. And they're just letting a coup happen. Like a coup is legit happening right now. And Elon Musk is the president of the country, right? And Democrats are doing nothing about that. And
Right.
people like my husband have been saying this for years, like the Democratic Party needs to go, or it needs to like severely shift into something different. Like it just needs to
Right.
be different. And we are in the not necessarily the fuck around to find out stage, but we're in the we have to hit rock bottom before we can go back up stage.
Yeah. The problem with the Democratic Party is when we get our shit together, it might be too late. That's my fear. Like,
It won't be
if
a
you guys
Democratic
don't
Party.
do
No,
anything now,
we'll be starting from the rubble.
right? But what I mean is, it might be too late to do something about Trump or that administration
No, I agree.
if they don't do something soon.
Right. They're
Because,
not gonna do anything though.
you know, I keep telling my husband, because everyone's like, well, he'll die soon. I'm like, you know what? They said the same thing about Fidel Castro. They
Uh,
said the same thing about Maduro or whoever was before Maduro in Venezuela. Someone will always replace them.
mhm.
Chavez, that was his name.
Oh, Chavez. Yeah.
And yeah, when he died, it wasn't liberation. Maduro stepped in,
Mhm.
and that's how it just, so
Yeah.
that's not going to be enough. We need an
Right.
actual change
I agree. And the Democrats are, that's what I'm saying is like the Democrats aren't going to do it. Right.
before he gets his claws in too deep, which
And
I,
they're not going to do it, which is why like it almost seems to me that like a new party is going to be born from the ashes. And if again, this is just me being optimistic because I have to be, but like I see AOC and Bernie Sanders not as the Democratic Party. I see
right,
them as what we think the Democratic Party should be, but that's not what the Democratic Party is. Like I guess technically they're the Democratic Socialists, which you know, people don't like the word socialist.
right.
Anyway,
They
I,
better start liking it because that's going to be our only hope right now.
I
Like,
well, not to make this episode go on even longer, but like, isn't like didn't wasn't Venezuela technically socialist, and which is why like a lot of
mhm.
Americans are anti-Venezuela because like
Yeah,
they're not and anti-socialism because they're like, oh look at what happened in Venezuela. Like there was a New York Times article that like my that I like that a certain family member had, and I picked it up and I was like, and it was all about it was an op-ed piece in the New York Times about how bad Venezuela was. And
right.
this was like 5 or 6 years ago before, before all this. So
But see, this is the problem. I don't know politics, right? So a lot of things I'm not going to pretend to know.
mhm.
But yeah,
We're
sure, it started
experts.
off as socialism, but really what it is a power hungry man.
Yeah.
So now everyone is making the connection that Trump sounds a lot like Chavez and Maduro and are is doing the same things that
Mm,
they did.
hmm.
So it doesn't matter how you spin it, it's when you put a man or a person, but let's face it, it's
Well,
usually a man in
man.
power and you give him like access to do whatever they want
Hmm.
and don't question it,
Hmm.
they're never going to do for us. They're going to do for themselves.
And it's almost like, you have to live it to learn it, which
Right.
is so stupid because I feel like we've already seen countries living it and learning it. And we've like, why did we have to live it and learn it ourselves? Because
Right.
I mean,
Socialism wasn't the problem.
mhm.
Let's be real. The problem was a dictatorship.
100%. And that's what's happening right now. Like we'd be
Right.
better off with the socialism because we have essentially a dictator or a king or whatever you want to call
Mhm.
it, like someone who's got unchecked power, which is what we're seeing right now. Which
Right.
reminds me, I don't know if you have a book that you want to cover for the next episode, but I'm working my way through Cast by Isabel Wilkerson. Um, so and everything that we're talking about now is sort of related to that in that what was I going to say? Oh, that the Nazis, and I'm only going to say one little thing, but there's a whole section in this book about how the Nazis like looked to America before, everything that happened over there, they were like looking at America's caste system and like using it as a blueprint for their caste system. And the evidence is just overwhelming that, that like the Nazis based, did you hear that? That was my dog.
No, I didn't hear it.
The Nazis like based everything that they did on our system of enslaving African American or Africans when, in the younger years of our country. So anyway, we'll be talking. I'm going to talk about that when I cover cast, but I believe it's
Okay.
technically your turn to pick a book.
Oh, I think we're good with that one. You're
Okay.
good. Yeah, yeah, no, we don't have to go in order. That's
Like
good
I got a lot going on here. But well, and Cass isn't a super easy read. So I took your advice and I got it on audio so I could listen to it because like it's not a fun read.
Right.
It's sort of like a depressing read, but it's an informative read. So we'll have a lot to talk about when we do cover that.
All right, that sounds good. I'll have to find a book that I need to cover because I don't know. I feel like any book at this point
I
can be
know.
used because they're all banned
Yeah.
in one way or another.
Oh, you know what we should real quick we should do is we should watch the movie that won the Oscar for best documentary.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
What's it called? No Land something?
That's You're right. I don't know what the name of it is because again, I know names of nothing, but I know what you're talking about.
So the he wasn't the director, but like the producer was yesterday. He was attacked by the IDF, Israeli Defense,
Really? Oh,
and
because they're not from here in the United States.
Palestinian, yeah, movie maker.
Oh,
And hold on. Oh, No Other Land. Yeah. Oh, maybe he was the director. Hamdan Bilal was missing yesterday because he was went back to Palestine and then was kidnapped, attacked and kidnapped. And I think right before this we started recording this episode, I saw on Instagram, which is why I don't really want to get rid of Instagram. There's just I have so many accounts that tell me what's going on, but he was released and he's going back to his family. So, but it was just really scary for a minute there. They thought he was dead.
right.
And it's not even confirmed that he is back to his family. It's sort of like a news story like that's still happening right now. But anyway, he was the director of that movie that won an Oscar for best documentary. And he just goes back to his homeland and is fucking attacked. It's crazy.
Yeah, and they're not going to want him. I mean, obviously that I'm assuming documentary draws attention to what's happening over there.
Hmm.
So yeah, he's going to be a
So
big target.
I'm so glad it won an Oscar. And the mayor of Miami wanted to close down a movie theater that showed it. And I think he may have been successful.
It,
It's crazy.
I
So we
thought
got to
these
watch
people loved the Constitution. You know, like what happened to that? Where is that? Because suddenly they're really okay with rolling over
it.
and
Hmm.
letting people just walk all over the Constitution.
Right? What happened 3 years ago when Moms for Liberty was passing out little copies of the Constitution in schools? Like, yeah, we like the Constitution too.
Right.
Like, but apparently,
Did you read the First
oh, you're
Amendment
right.
part? Because it seems like you guys skip right over it and go straight to the Second Amendment.
Hmm.
They only think the First Amendment applies when they want to yell at you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you want to record them being an asshole, they're
Hmm.
like, you can't record me
Right.
in
And
public,
it's
you
the same thing
dumbass.
with abortion. It's like, does the fetus have rights or not? Because, there was a woman who was having labor pains at 7 months pregnant, and I think she was like in jail or something, and they were like, sorry, we're not going to do anything about it. And then she delivered a stillborn. So do you want to protect that fetus or not? Like if it's a black woman in jail, I would say not.
Right.
But
Right. Yeah, they pick and choose when it's beneficial. Because the
and
same way
they're never held accountable.
nope. And they say now like the Constitution doesn't apply to immigrants,
Mm.
with them being deported without a trial. They're not owed a trial.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I'm like, well, that First Amendment doesn't apply. It's just for US citizens,
Hmm.
you
Right.
know.
That's why you come over to this country, right? Like, yeah. I think
But
for the line blurs is like if you have a criminal record and you're not a citizen, then they can just get rid of you, right? but even then it's like, you got to deal with that on a case by case basis.
Right.
Um, I remember I had a friend who had a green card status, but not American citizen status. And he got drunk when we were lifeguards and like broke into this like lifeguard shack to get his shoes. He was drunk and with some other people. And then the cops were called and he got in so much trouble by his parents because they're like, you could be deported.
Right.
You don't have citizen status. Like, and it was sort of eye-opening to me because I was like, wow, like I didn't know that like you didn't have that protection, especially, as a minor. But
Right.
that's so that stuff like that is happening all the time. It's like you can get in trouble for like the littlest thing and just be out of
Yeah.
here
Oh
forever.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's happened to that professor at
From Germany or something?
some Ivy League school here.
Yeah.
She was green card status and they got rid of her and she's like a fucking doctor. And I think
Mhm.
they got rid of her because they took her phone when she was traveling to a country and they saw that she was anti-Trump on her phone. And she was like saying stuff like, I hate him. He said whatever. It's her phone. She's
Right.
allowed to say that. And they didn't like that. And they said, you're not allowed to come back. And I
Yeah.
think she was a part of the protests too.
And I will say with that, we have to be careful now. They're saying if you leave the country,
Hmm.
you should travel with a burner phone.
If you're not an American citizen.
I would say everyone should.
Yeah.
Because if
Who
you're
knows? Yeah.
outside of the country, they don't have to let you in.
Right. I know. I'm not that I have the money to travel, but
Right.
yeah, that's
If I get to leave the country, I don't think I want to come back either.
right.
Like I'm good here.
I'm like
Oh, I
researching
can't come in? Okay.
I'm researching my ancestry to see like what relatives I have that like I could try and get citizenship for. Like
Right.
I already tried the Netherlands on my husband's side, but like I think they've been gone for too long for that to happen. I've got some French in me, but I can't prove it. I would love to be French.
Right. Right now, the French are being like very,
They want their Statue of Liberty back.
yeah, they're standing on business. So
One guy was like, "Send us our Statue of Liberty back,
I
please."
saw that. I thought that was really good. I was like, yeah,
Yeah. See, we need more people like that to stand up and be like,
yeah.
"This is
And
fun."
people
Yeah.
are, but is it enough? You know?
I don't
And
know.
I know we've gone way over. So,
It's okay. Desperate times call for
but
desperate.
this is just the VA has also gotten hit pretty hard.
I
And
know.
I know a lot of veterans voted for him. So I'm hoping these people are realizing, that they voted wrong
Hmm.
and that they also stand on business and do what is necessary. I'm not saying to harm anyone, but to defend
Yeah.
the Constitution, which is what they swore to do.
Yeah.
Not defend a person, but the
Hmm.
Constitution and the country.
Hmm.
So I really hope because I do think it is heading that way
Hmm.
where stuff like that is going to have to happen. And I hope that they don't turn into literal Nazis and, you know,
Right. Yeah. Like we said at the beginning of this episode, it's like we have no idea what tomorrow is going to look like.
right.
Trump could be dead. He could not wake up. I'm not wishing death upon him.
I am natural causes. I'm not saying anyone should harm him, but
No. I want it to be peaceful and quick.
I just want karma to do what karma needs to do. That's all.
I guess we should end on that note, right? Don't ban bigots. Wait, do ban bigots. Ban the bigots. Don't-
Yes. Don't ban books.
There you go.
Ban bigots.
Got it.
This episode has been engineered and mixed by your hosts, Jennifer Mendoza and Courtney Green.
Thanks for listening, and be sure to follow us at MILF for Books. That's MILF, the number 4, books, on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it.
And don't forget to help the show by rating us wherever you get your podcasts.